From the Indian side, Maruf Raza, strategic affairs analyst and Times Now's consulting editor. KC Singh, former Secretary, Ministry of External Affairs. RSN Singh, former senior RAW officer. From the Pakistani side, we have Asif Ezdi, former senior diplomat. And along with him from Islamabad is Fariha Idris, senior journalist. Thank you very much, Fariha and Asif ji. And Brigadier Javed Hussain, my first question is to you. What is this desperation of trying to get a backdoor entry for China? I mean, are you insecure of a growing Indian presence? Why do you need to try and get a backdoor entry for China? Are you going to be a Chinese agent at the SAARC or an independent country? Since when do you think China is a South Asian country? By which definition? Which part of China is South Asia, Brigadier Javed Hussain?
China shares borders with several SAARC countries. The point is that an organization.
But so does Russia. You want to get Russia also in now? Russia also shares borders with some SAARC countries.
Yeah, let's get Australia also.
Okay, let's get Australia also. Okay.
The fact is that this organization that was set up in 1985, since then, it has done nothing. Its entry of China would have been like a breath of fresh air in a mundane organization, a failed organization.
So why are you there? Well, you don't believe in the SAARC, you can leave the SAARC. But why? No, why? If you are, but you can't make China a South Asian country.
Why is it that India is feeling so nervous about it? You want to act as the big brother. Well, China will allow you to act like a big brother.
Sir, the fact is, there are a couple of facts.
You have exaggerated notions about India.
Right.
And that is the reason why you have this paranoid fears of Pakistan and China.
No, we don't.
So
now,
if China is not admitted as a full member of SAARC, it is SAARC's loss, not China's.
I can understand it is Pakistan's loss. Don't make it SAARC's loss. Let's get RSN Singh and Maruf Raza. Let's get Maruf Raza to respond first. I would like to re-emphasize the SAARC is a South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. It's an economic and geopolitical organization of South Asian countries. China is an East Asian country. It has no business being at the SAARC. That's my view tonight, and I'd like Maruf to come into the debate. Maruf from Delhi to take on Brigadier Javed Hussain at the start, opening up the debate. Please, Maruf.
Brigadier Saab, we've got your point. Now, please hear me out. The first thing is that it's well known amongst anybody who's been an observer of SAARC. Sir, please. It's well known amongst anybody who's been an observer of SAARC, and I've watched SAARC and attended some of the SAARC summits as a correspondent earlier in the last 20 years. And the big spoiler in the future of SAARC, in the development of SAARC, has always been Pakistan wanting to attract attention to India-Pakistan dialogue, India-Pakistan initiatives, when SAARC is not meant to be a forum for bilateral activity. The second aspect which we must understand, that India is the only country in South Asia which has land connectivity with almost all SAARC members, and therefore India is central to SAARC. And if you might not want to have India playing a central role, that's your lookout. But if India was to pull out of SAARC and let SAARC countries do their battling in favor of Pakistan or against Pakistan, SAARC would completely collapse as an initiative. The third thing is that all countries in the neighborhood have very good links with India, with the exception of Pakistan. And there is a growing view in New Delhi that should Pakistan, sir, please hear, there's a growing view in New Delhi that if India begins to concentrate on its other neighbors and look eastwards and let Pakistan continue to dabble in the problems that it has created for itself, then Pakistan would be further isolated. If you say China is part of South Asia, by that definition, Russia is part of Asia, if not South Asia. Who all are you going to get in? And the larger the grouping, the more chaos and confusion there will be. If you want SAARC to move forward, let us address the key issues that have bedeviled SAARC's future over all these years. There is no people-to-people connectivity of the nature that should be. There is no economic activity of the nature that should be. There was an idea in the 1990s that Prime Minister Gujral had floated of triangles of growth, and I would seriously recommend that India should push for triangles of growth between Bangladesh, India and Nepal, India, Sri Lanka and Maldives,
why,
and let
actually,
Pakistan handle the mess that it has created.
Actually, the question is, Maruf, and I'd like to put this to our guests in Islamabad and open it up after that. By the way, Casey, I'll come to you. Anyone can come in. I just want to put this to a Pakistani guest. You know, if Pakistan wants to destroy the SAARC, it should issue an official statement. Asif SD, we want to destroy the SAARC. Or if Pakistan, Fariha, wants to walk out of the SAARC, it can walk out of the SAARC and get isolated in the regional context. But just because the Chinese have given you some nuclear toys, or just because the Chinese allowed you to stop the ban on the Lashkar-e-Toiba, or just because the Chinese are going to give you some money to build some some infrastructure in Pakistan, does not mean that you lose your own sense of sovereignty. I mean, Pakistan's language in Kathmandu is now sounding more and more like a Chinese stooges. Why would you do that at a SAARC summit?
Arnab, with due respect, there's so much assumption and a pack of assumptions in your question. Pakistan does not want to walk out of SAARC. I don't know how you got this impression. It appears so with what it is doing. And in your intro, let me complete. In your intro, you said it yourself that that India is the big brother of SAARC. And I would go a step further. And again, with due respect, I think India has been the big bully at SAARC. And this is precisely the reason why there's so much noise coming from India on a certain issue.
But why this Chinese excitement over China, Fariha? Where's this excitement over China coming from?
The problem over the years has been that India believes that Pakistan should act like Bhutan, and Pakistan is not Bhutan. Actually, you mentioned the list of agreements signed in China recently when our Prime Minister was there. There's a whole list of those lists, and when you were talking about Pakistan being isolated, you probably forgot we had a very successful tour in China. We had a very successful tour of Afghani president to Pakistan. So Pakistan is certainly not isolated. Coming to the list of these agreements, I see a number of them. I do not see any signed memorandum that we will be lobbying for China. Every country has to look at
these things are never written, Fariha. You are a senior journalist, Miss Idris. Fariha Idris, Miss Fariha Idris, you are a senior journalist.
Well,
you know these things are never written.
Things as a senior journalist and believe in the conspiracy theories, by most welcome, do that. I have been taught the kind of journalism where you look at things and then believe.
Well, then I'll give you one fact out here. You see, I am linking two things. One is, and Mr. Asif is just coming to you. I just want to respond very briefly to Fariha.
You're linking two things that didn't happen. Which two things are you linking? You are just assuming Pakistan wants to walk out of SAARC. You're just assuming that Pakistan is doing China's dirty job. But you're accepting that India has got a problem with that.
No, you see, I'll tell you. China helped you acquire all this illegitimate technology to go nuclear.
So far?
No, you see, now Fariha, since you have asked me today, I didn't want to completely reveal. I mean, I'm sure as a Pakistani, it must hurt you.
It has achieved nothing thanks to Pakistan.
Yeah. So
it has achieved nothing thanks to Pakistan.
Unfortunately, I can't hear you. There are two people talking.
The issue of bilateral relations. Please ask yourself, madam, how many countries on your fingers can you count who will stand up for Pakistan today other than China?
And that's a major point.
Mr. SD wants to come in. Let Mr. SD come in, then I'll clarify a few basic issues to Ms. Fariha Idris. Yes, please.
We should be flattered if China is taking interest in SAARC. SAARC has been a dead organization for 25, 30 years. If China is taking interest in it, we should welcome them. I think it should be something which shows that SAARC has a potential.
No, but then...
And listen, China is a country which borders 5 SAARC countries, 5 South Asian countries, which is more than Pakistan has 2 neighboring countries. China has 5. So, and China has been taking interest in South Asia. The Chinese president was in South Asian countries recently, and they proposed this idea of a of the new the maritime Silk Route, which is for the Indian Ocean.
No, one second.
And you also have the Chinese,
Mr. Asif Zaid,
what is called BIMSTEC.
You know, Mr.
have the Chinese, what is called
No, one second. You know,
you
Mr.
have so many.
Mr. SD, hear me for a minute. Mr. Asif, just hear me for a minute. Now, R.S. Singh and K.C. Singh has not spoken yet. I'd like to go to them. But you know, and I know, and every Pakistani lieutenant and every Pakistani general and every Pakistani free politician, I don't know how many there are left in your country now. The only person allowed to be free is Imran Khan. My question is that everybody knows in Pakistan that China has virtually bought you over. You know, they have given you $42 billion promise.
Everybody knows that. Yes, that's a great assumption, that everybody knows that.
Miss Idris, can you please tell me, which month and which year? No, which month and which year?
The Foreign Ministry has expressed
which month?
in elevating their partnership with SAARC.
Okay, so I'm making 3 allegations tonight.
The dialogue partners,
Mr.
China
SD.
wants to elevate it further.
Mr. SD, hear me.
Welcome it. China is a big player in South Asia.
Mr. SD, you don't have to sound like such a
player in South Asia. Strategic terms, economic terms, political terms, and we should be welcoming them if they want to be.
Well, Mr. SD, now please listen to me, please. I just want to get 2 Indian panelists into the debate with your permission. And you know and I know that they have promised you $42 billion of investment in energy. You know and I know they helped you block the move to ban the Lashkar-e-Toiba. And you know and I know they gave you all the technology to go nuclear. So you owe the Chinese a lot. But my question is tonight, why do you need to make it obvious? RSN Singh and KC Singh coming into the debate. RSN Singh and KC Singh. Who's going first? Okay,
Let me also quickly tell you that Pakistan and China go back years, decades. It's not this sudden friendship that is the reason for some certain reason.
Hear from the Indian panelists. Yeah.
Brigadier, I can understand your desperation.
And that's a major question.
Brigadier, I can understand your desperation to get China in.
Absolutely.
There is a very popular saying these days in India that China will fight India till the last Pakistani. So that is, you know, that is what the strategic partnership that Arnab was speaking about. But let me tell you, who has sabotaged?
Front war.
Who has? Just listen to me. Who has sabotaged? Who has sabotaged SAARC?
Listen to him, sir.
You are at least at proxy war with two of the SAARC members. That is India and Afghanistan. Your terrorist footprints are there in Sri Lanka. They are in Maldives. They are in India. They are in Bangladesh. You have not allowed the potential.
Also look at
potential of SAARC to be realized. You don't allow trade to take place. The fundamentalists in your country, they say that if trade with India, burgeons, then there will be Indian influence. And let me tell you, see the intra-trade among SAARC countries is 1% of the GDP. Compare it with ASEAN. It is 10% of the GDP, all because of you, Brigadier, all because of you. And even before, run up to this SAARC, your Prime Minister left no stone unturned to vitiate the atmosphere. First he said that I'll speak to Hurriyat before talking to the Indian leaders. Then he spoke to Obama that why don't you, intervene in Kashmir. Then Mr. Sartaaj Aziz says that,
at the same time,
jihadi groups which are not targeting Pakistan, we will not take them on.
KC Singh, why is Pakistan getting so worked up on behalf of China? KC Singh, please. KC Singh, please, sir. Let KC Singh come in, then he...
Important.
Brigadier, you can respond as much as you want. With your permission, KC Singh would like to say something now, please.
Let me broaden the discussion.
The back door for entry.
Brigadier, let me enlarge the discussion and educate you a bit. Firstly, I agree with you totally. Let me just start. Can I speak, Brigadier? I agree with you that Pakistan is not Bhutan, because Bhutan is an extremely peaceful country, perhaps the most peaceful out of the SAARC countries. So Bhutan is, yes, not like Pakistan. That is true. I agree with you. Secondly, when it comes to the Shanghai Cooperation SCO agreement, SCO membership, China turns around and says, we will only take India in if we can get Pakistan in, if we can get so-and-so in. So the Chinese always link Indian membership of the SCO to half a dozen things. And they want to bring you in, etc. So if China wants to come into SAARC, there are 9 observers. China is not the only observer.
Right.
I don't see how they alone can come in. And the Nepalese are also playing a little game in all this. They've got their little money out of the Chinese. And they are also playing a game as the hosts, saying, after all, we need Europe and the Chinese because they have the money. So they have attached Europe onto it. So this is a combined conspiracy in which they feel Europe doesn't threaten anyone. Maybe they'll give some money for the projects. But you get the big boy Chinese in. And once they come in, then that's it, because they have been never out of this area. They were always in this area. When you ceded a part of Kashmir to them in 1963, they've been in this area since then. So formally they are not in SAARC, but they've never left. They've always been intruding, intervening, and indirectly making sure that India is tied down in this area using surrogates. Now they want to come in through the front door because they are well off and they got money bags. So they got their surrogates saying, oh, uncle, rich uncle is here, let's bring him in. This is not how it's going to work. It's not going to make SAARC any better. It's just going to make it worse. So let's first make it work. You only bring in new members once you made an organization work. To say it is not working and you bring in the guy who's really responsible for instability in South Asia is really begging the question.
No, instability globally. I mean, Maruf, today the Chinese counterpart, today the Pakistanis are saying, we get SAARC in, we are going to make China, SAARC more stable. I mean, that's such a laughing matter, because China has been the source of global instability. Which country encroaches into Vietnamese waters, Maruf? Which country provokes and enters into Japanese airspace? Which country has a string of pearls strategy?
Of South
Which
Asia,
country?
China as a member.
Swami!
And I'm sure you know about them.
Brigadier,
Come in.
Brigadier, don't get... Brigadier, Brigadier, the problem with you is that you are now not coming to terms with your increasing global isolation. You need to come to terms with it. And if everybody who offers you a few dollars, you become their stooge tomorrow, then imagine whatever is left of your sovereignty will also be lost.
On one hand, you're saying we're isolation. On the other hand, you're saying we're lobbying with other countries. You have to pick up your line and stick to it.
I feel sorry for you people.
You can keep defending your position.
Brigadier, you can... When it comes to Pakistan,
Brigadier Saab,
it seems that all of you, your leadership and the Indian media, particularly Times Now, and in Times Now, Mr. Arnab Goswami, you are suffering from a disease called psychosis. Get rid of it. You're not that bad. You're good people.
Right.
Be friends with Pakistan.
Right.
Whatever you say, your problems with Pakistan will remain.
Sir, I'll tell you. No, sir, I'll tell you. No, 1 second. No, 1 second. Brigadier Javed Hussain, I want to say something to you. 1 second. Brigadier Javed Hussain, I sympathize with your situation. No, let me complete. I need to respond to this. Brigadier Javed Hussain, hear me please. I heard you. I heard you and you hear me now.
You can keep dreaming.
I heard you and you hear me now.
Unless you resolve the issue
I heard you and you hear me now.
Through SAARC.
Brigadier,
bilaterally.
Brigadier,
you will
Brigadier, I'll tell you one thing. You see, I don't understand why you in Pakistan,
you are talking
Pakistani
about
army officers,
in the world.
and especially retired Pakistani army officers, suffer from what I can only call...
Don't indulge in small-time thinking.
Sir, listen to me. Now, I heard you listen to me.
Think
sir,
big.
in Karachi, unless my voice from Mumbai doesn't reach you in Karachi.
Face facts.
I'll tell you the facts. I'll tell you the facts. You see, Brigadier, you suffer from something called partial diplomatic schizophrenia, which is an affliction that many Pakistani former officers suffer from. Otherwise, you would have known, Brigadier, that on the 6th of September 2014, the greatest diplomatic snub was served upon your country by none other than the Chinese whose stooges you now want to become, because Xi Jinping said, no, I cannot come. I was supposed to come to Pakistan, but I think it's an extremely unstable and dangerous country to land in. And he says, I'm not coming to Pakistan. Even the Maldivian president says, I'm not coming to Pakistan. It's a dangerous country. This is after the Karachi airport attack. Barack Obama has just told you 2 days back, we are not coming to Pakistan, I'm going to attend India's Republic Day parade. So I know, Brigadier, that you have not come to terms with your increasing global isolation. And China, what has it done? China has thrown a few dollars at you and told you we'll give you a little bit of money. So you go and speak their language in Kathmandu. Why are you doing this to yourself? Whatever is left of your self-respect should not be lost in so public a manner.
Your problem is with Pakistan and China. You have to deal with them.
Sir, You
have to resolve these issues.
Sir, you are
big.
You are today globally. You are today globally synonymous with terrorism.
Time and time again.
You are globally synonymous with terrorism.
Brigadier Javed.
Brigadier
Javed. Brigadier Javed Saab. You have been echoing the sentiments of Rawalpindi. I thought after having retired, you would change course and become more moderate and more balanced.
I haven't retired.
To the region. You keep.
I haven't retired.
Sir, please. Are you serving?
A special forces soldier never
are you
retires.
serving? Where it's interesting.
Remember this.
A
special forces soldier is always on duty.
We've both been in
24
uniform.
hours.
Sir, but you can choose to be independent on the program.
Sir, let me give you 2 or 3 facts. The first fact is that, sir, Brigadier Saab, please hear me out. We've heard you for a long time. The first point is China has got deep pockets. Sir, China has got deep pockets and China is buying its way with all the countries in the neighborhood. I do admit that it has been the failure of the last government in New Delhi that we have failed to build up on relationships in our neighborhood that existed. But countries in the SAARC region must understand that if India abandons SAARC and stop taking interest in SAARC, you can bring in China, you can bring in whatever, you'll have to give the whole outfit a new name because it will not be SAARC without India. And India is getting impatient with Pakistan's constant obduracy in which you are trying to scuttle even bilateral initiatives and multilateral initiatives. The Nepalese are obviously looking for few free bucks. But please understand that the region needs connectivity and it can only happen with India's involvement. The region needs better people-to-people interaction. It can happen with India's involvement. As far as Pakistan is concerned and China...
Oops, losing the line there with Maruf Raza. I throw it to our panelists in Islamabad. And I'd like to ask Miss Fariha Idris and Asif SD a simple question. My question to you is, please tell me, Mr. Asif SD and Fariha Idris, don't you want the support of other countries in the region? Isn't it interesting for you that even Sri Lanka today considers you a country... No, let me complete. I'll just tell you. Sri Lanka on the 29th of June, Sri Lanka on the 29th of June placed a ban on visa on arrivals for Pakistani nationals.
Look at Sri Lanka. Look at other countries. Look at Nepal.
Arnab, first of all, when the...
India is isolated.
Okay, one of you at a time. Go ahead. Yes, Fariha, go ahead. Any of you. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Well, both of you accused each other, your guest in Karachi and you sitting there, of certain psychological diseases. I think none of you has got any psychological disease. The problem is that you're not listening to each other, and what you're doing, Arnab, is there's a lot of assumption taken on your part. First of all, Pakistan and China go many years, decades. It's a very old friendship,
really,
which has sustained through the years. And the fact that you are on one hand saying that Pakistan is isolated and then you are continuously pointing at a certain friendship shows that you are not consistent.
No, I am saying that I am saying that China has no role in SAARC.
Assumptions are not consistent.
Fariha, I make no assumptions. I make no assumptions.
Let's come to SAARC.
I am saying China is not a South Asian country, and you really have to be. You have to have a warped sense of geography to call it a South Asian country.
I'm coming to this.
That China is trying to encircle India, and Pakistan is the linchpin in that whole exercise.
Can I please ask you to take a look at India's relationship with other countries?
Pakistan is only playing China's game.
We have been accused. Well, this is an assumption on your part, sir.
Ma'am, I can say
Pakistan has got its own interests. You yourself have mentioned the challenges that Pakistan faced. The Chinese president, the Chinese tour was cancelled because of certain challenges on Pakistan's part. So
I am not going to sit here quietly
so you jumped in
and
when I
listen
was
to a
talking. That's why I'm
one-sided
now
dialogue
finishing
from
my argument.
Pakistani.
My question goes back to Casey. You see, at this stage, I can see here, Casey, that Pakistan has painted itself into a corner over this China issue. It's really started actively lobbying for China. My question to you, Casey, do you see them escalating this? Do you see them getting increasingly more active? And where is this going to go? I mean, can you bring some sense of realism into the debate and tell our Pakistani guests whether they need to try so hard?
Where do you get the news that Pakistan
is
lobbying for
Look,
China?
as I said, there are 9 observers. And the 9 observers Just one second. The 9 observers,
in being a member.
9 observers vary from US to Australia to Japan to Republic of Korea to Mauritius to various other countries. In any organization, when we go to ASEAN, for instance,
yes,
you can't just go from being an observer to being a member.
Yes.
You see, we were observers at ASEAN, now we are a partner, and we do a separate summit with them. So therefore, they have to go up a ladder. Now, they can apply for it, and there has to be a consensus decision. But you can't build a ginger group within the organization, lobby for it, and say as if we are dying unless they come in. We'll have to take a decision out of the 9 and see who else comes in. See what is good for the organization.
So you think
it should be a country? Let me give an example. It should be a country with which no country has a dispute. Now, how do we bring another country in which hasn't settled its border with us? So we shouldn't be bringing one more country in which has a dispute with India. So it becomes India plus Pakistan. Why can't we'll bring Mauritius in, or let's bring Australia in, or Republic of Korea in? The Japanese have money. Let's bring the Japanese in. So why only China? So therefore, various decisions have to be taken. All told, we'll have to weigh our interests, and then there'll be a consensus decision. But I don't see a consensus decision on China.
You know, this defeats logic. Casey, what you're saying is absolutely right. It completely defeats logic. In fact, you know, you have to pinch yourself to believe that the Pakistanis are actually embarrassing themselves by speaking like a Chinese satellite state. But I don't know why they're doing it. I mean, when I heard the news today, we kept asking our reporters, are the Pakistanis actually doing it? Because many analysts actually found it hard to believe. But then they actually are. And I see here a clear link between the dwindling assistance from America, RSN Singh, and the only hope, last hope of financial help for a beleaguered and bankrupt country called Pakistan can come from China. That's the only hope left.
The defense minister of Pakistan, Khwaja Aziz, he has gone on record to say
what the people are saying.
All the upheaval that you see in Pakistan and the region is because of the Americans. Tomorrow they will blame the same, they will take the Chinese, as an excuse. What I am trying to tell these honorable guests from Pakistan is,